Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. I'm talking about a game on the iPod Touch here. It's an iOS game that came out just a few weeks ago. It's River Raid 2600. I'll put a link down below to where you can get, or where I got this. It was a free game. It's not made by Atari, but it is the original River Raid game, but with some pretty neat enhancements that I've been quite enjoying. So I thought, well, I'd like to bring this game up to everybody's attention. Let me just start it off here. Now you've got basically two options: main menu or single player. Let's go. Main menu just takes you back here, so there's not a lot there. But if we go to the single player, we can choose to play the classic game, and it sort of defaults to a motion kind of control. Let me actually change that, or here's the options over here, because it's got some benefits and disadvantages to use the motion version. Your three options are either to do with like tilting the thing around, or you can do arrow where you move side to side and tap your thumb to shoot, or you can do retro, which is like I guess basically a glorified 3DS kind of slider, and that moves you around that way. I guess for simplicity's sake, I'll start off with arrow mode. The other interesting thing, so you can choose which side the controller is on there, you can reset your stats, etc. It does have, interestingly, the option to rotate screen orientation. Now, I thought that would mean, oh, I can play River Raid like portrait mode. It doesn't actually do that. All it really adjusts is that way. Like, you know, now you can play the game that direction as opposed to the other way around. Which is unusual because, oh, that's interesting. Didn't think it would do that. I'm used to most iOS games, they just automatically know to rotate. I don't know why there's even a button for that purpose. Anyway, let me show you it's gone back to the motion one. I want to do that. Save and close. No. Alright, well, here we go. Okay, so we are doing arrow mode. Right, so you recognize this is your standard River Raid game, and I'll move around and shoot. And, doing very, very lousy there. Let's pay attention here as we go. I mean, good lord. I'm not a fan of using the arrow mode because there's always something on the right-hand side of the screen there, so my thumb is obscuring it, and I'm not a big fan. There, I'm doing a little bit better here. Get my fuel. Always like River Raid. Oh, darn. Okay, until I die. Tell you what, let's switch the controls. Let's change to the retro mode. And I don't think it's much better, but maybe I'll have a bit more success there. Yeah, so there we go. Okay, it's not doing too bad. Interesting thing about River Raid, I haven't really talked about it on my channel like the standard 2600 game, because everybody has. But it's I think one of the first vertical shoot-'em-ups for the 2600. I don't know if it's the very first, it gets credited as being such, but it's a nice challenging game. What's always been very good about it is you do have to, like, not only look out for the bad guys, but that's the end of it. There's where it makes its money. You can buy some more continues and stuff like that. I'm not going to bother with any of that. I'll just play it again. Restart. River Raid has some very neat features in that, I think. Isn't it procedurally generated? I mean, the bad guys are not always in the same spot every time, or maybe later on, I'm not sure. But regardless, very, very fun game, and quite an ingenious 2600 game, especially for its time. Except for I keep dying. Now, as I say, I'm not a big fan of the control scheme using this. I am going to switch to the motion because I do find I'm not obscuring, or my thumb isn't obscuring stuff on the screen, and that is the better way to go. So I can get at least through that first bridge there. But this isn't the main reason I wanted to bring up this game. This has a really cool mode. Okay, well, I'm dead. This has a really cool mode on it that I wanted to show off. But first, let's just do the motion control here. Let's go to the options and then switch to that. Now you can move around. And what's nice is when you've got your iDevice in the position you like, just hit calibrate. That'll center your... a little bit too high there. There we go. Let's proceed here. And you'll see that with motion, it's a little better. Except for, it's a little, I mean, at least now I can see the whole screen. Because it's not a standard 4x3 presentation like an original 2600 would have had. It's wide, and with my thumb in the way before, it was very, very difficult. So I definitely, I need more fuel. For those who don't know, that sound means I'm running out of fuel, so I've got to get over these guys quick. Okay, that'll keep me going a little while. Yeah, so this game is nice that it actually fills your iDevice fully, but that does make controlling it require that you use the tilt, I would say, because you're definitely going to run into situations where you can't see stuff with your thumb in the way. Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting the jet planes and much more complicated. The only thing I don't like about this control scheme using the tilt, I always forget to speed up, which means sort of leaning forward. Anyway, so that is that's the standard game there, but and the other thing is, it's also worth noting it is ad supported. I just had to cut around an ad that showed up there, so it is free, but you've got ads and you've got that way of doing in-app purchases. One thing I really wish is that this thing would actually work with the iCade Junior. I love this little thing. I've tried popping it in there. You can see it's currently on. There is no option for iCade support. And I know the iCade Junior, well, iCade in general is kind of old technology that nobody really seems to support very much anymore. But I did talk about the Bambino UFO Master Blaster thing that was a handheld that I talked about a little while ago. The developer for that did give iCade support, and that was just within the last year. So I don't know if it's kind of an unusual practice that nobody's doing, but I'd like to get iCade support for this. Primarily, and this is the main reason I wanted to bring up this game, there is a really cool version on this that I really like. Fantasy mode. This one is pretty neat. Oh, what's this load game feature? Let's just go with a new game. Yeah, fantasy mode is still River Raid, not much different from before, but with just enough tweaks that I really, really like it. And I'll show it to you, and I want to pose a question out there. Anyway, let's go with that. So this one is, do not adjust your set. The colors are intentionally weird looking, but look at that. You've got 3 shots. And you'd think, oh, big deal, they've just added a couple of other shots. How is that so noteworthy? I'm really finding these 3 shots both make me a lot more lethal of a fighter pilot, but they add a very interesting level of challenge. You want to make sure you're not hitting those fuel tanks. So just a simple little addition like that, and some, funky colors in that, and probably a few adjustments to the bad guys. You wouldn't think, well, that's very big of a deal, but I'm really loving this fantasy mode. This is great. Just having these 3 shots alone has added a whole new complexity to the original River Raid concept, and I really like it. In fact, I'm going to pose a question. I am going to pose a question. I'm going to show this video on Atari Age and just ask those guys out there, is this a doable hack? Could somebody just take good old River Raid and add in these extra shots? Is it doable? Because the guys out there in Atari Age are just hacking geniuses. They can mod anything and make any of the classics really shine and come to life. So I'm loving what this little slight addition or slight variation to River Raid has brought to the original gameplay. I'm loving this iOS port, or this version, even though it does come with these little in-app purchases and ads. But yeah, no, I'd really like to see if this is possible to do with the original River Raid. There, one more time with the fantasy mode, because I love this. Yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd do a quick little video about this River Raid 2600 title for iOS. I'm not sure if it's on Android, but if it is, and if you like River Raid, the classic, really, really highly recommend you get this, because, yeah, it's standard old River Raid for people who've played that a million times, but this fantasy mode, this is great. This adds a whole new dimension, and all it is just some extra shots. You wouldn't think that would do that much to the original formula, but I'm loving it. really made it challenging. This wish it had like external controller support of some description, whether iOS or IK Junior or some of those MiFi controllers that are out there. Who knows? Maybe the Android version does. Anyway, so yeah, there it is. River Raid 2600, freeware on iOS. Highly recommend it. I'm going to put a link down below to where you can get this. And until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.